Shalom. So I just want to wish all my Israelite brothers and sisters out there a happy Feast of Dedication. For those of you who are new and you're waking with the Torah, I just want to give a short overview of what the Feast of Dedication is and why we should celebrate it. So first thing, what is the Feast of Dedication? The Feast of Dedication is the rededication of the temple, which can be found in 1 Maccabees chapters 1 through 4. But if you want to get the full story, you can read chapters 1 through 8. And also in John chapter 10, verse 22, which we're going to go over. So today begins the beginning of the Feast of Dedication. And we normally go by the sunset in Jerusalem because technically that's our homeland. So for the feast days, that's what we do. But for the weekly Sabbaths, we always keep the Sabbaths from sunset to sunset. But when it comes to the feast days, we like to keep them according to the sunset in our land. So a lot of people think that the Feast of Dedication, which in the Hebrew tongue is known as Hanukkah, has something to do with Christmas, which it has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas at all, but basically just the rededication of the temple from Judah Maccabees and his brethren who ran out the Greeks, which the Greeks had profoundly devoured the temple of God. So to give you a basic understanding, we're going to go there. We're going to go to 1 Maccabees chapter 4, and I'm going to start reading at verse 54. So 1 Maccabees chapter 4, if you got your Apocrypha, and we're going to start at verse 54. And it says, "Look, at what time and what day the heathen had profounded, even in that was it dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals. So when the Greeks were ran out, Judah Maccabees and the brethren, they rededicated the temple back to God with celebrations with harps, flutes, and instruments. That's why you hear the music in the background with the harps, flutes, and all sorts of instruments. Verse 55, "Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success." Verse 56, "And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance, and praised." So it's an 8-day celebration. And basically in this celebration, this is what we are to do as a people of God. We are to, in these 8 days, practice our faith, building our faith. We have to constantly remind ourselves to be strong. Because as the temple was rededicated, we're being rededicated to God. God is raising his people up from the four corners of the earth. And God is going to come back and he's going to cleanse this earth. And he's going to set us back in our land. And God is going to give it that. So this is a reminder to help us prepare our minds for what's to come for us, for his people. So this 8 days is going to be a day, day of celebration, praise to Yah, and just building your faith. So that's what the whole focus is about. See, these laws and these statutes, they are not burdensome, and they should never be burdensome. If you ever get to a point where you feel like Yah's laws are burdensome, then you shouldn't be keeping the laws at all, because they were never meant for that. They were always meant to remind us of Yah's goodness and what he is doing for his people. So that was the whole purpose of the Feast of Dedication. And even Christ, Yeshua, kept the Feast of Dedication. And we're going to go there after we cover some more verses here in Maccabees. So let's go to verse 57. And it says, "They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields." Remember, shields in Ephesians, the shield of righteousness represents faith. "And the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them." Verse 58. "Thus was the very great gladness among people, for the reproach of the heathen was put away." So in other words, everything that these heathens did to this temple was wiped out, was wiped clean by the Most High. In verse 59, "Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the day of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the peace of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Celsius, with mirth and gladness. So this was supposed to be a reoccurring event throughout the generations, and that's why we celebrate it even to this day. So as you're going through this week, be glad, brothers and sisters. Just be glad in your heart and in spirit. Use this time to pray for faith, because we're needing, because as we're living in these last days, things are going to get rougher and rougher for Yah's people. So we really need to build our faith. Okay, let's go to John chapter 10, and we're going to read verses 22 through 27. And let's see if Yehoshua, he kept the Feast of Dedication. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. And Yehoshua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him, and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. Yeshua answered unto them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep. As I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So again, that was John chapter 10, verses 22 through 27. So this is dealing with faith right here. And Yeshua, he kept the Feast of Dedication. But the point I want to make is the faith portion, because Christ is telling them that they're doubting and they have no faith because they doubted. The Pharisees doubted, and a lot of people doubted that he came to save them and that he was the Son of the living God. So Yeshua is telling about their faith. And he says, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow. And see, that's important to note, because especially as people are waking up, our brothers and sisters are listening to that voice. It's the ones who are not listening to that voice who are remaining ignorant, and those are the main ones who are fighting against this faith. As I woke up, I was so excited, and I felt like, wow, the same people that I knew, associated with, I knew they would be excited about it. But, when I went to them with this truth, it was like total rejection. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little heartbroken for a moment, but I had to realize this very verse came to mind. My sheep hear my voice, and they follow. And not everybody is hearing the voice of Yeshua. And unfortunately, a lot of our people are not going to wake up. That's the sad part. But for those of us who are awakened, we need to take this time to really ensure our faith and strengthen our faith and prepare us for these last days, because we ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, it's getting ready to get hot. You know that Trump just declared, not only Trump, but other countries declared Jerusalem as a capital. And I'm getting ready to do a video on that, because that's huge. But a lot of people, billions of people, did not catch that. But that is a huge piece in Bible prophecy as far as these last days. But anyway, I don't want to get off on the point that I'm making with the Feast of Dedication. So I want to say to my Israelite brothers and sisters scattered to the four corners of the earth, stay strong, build your faith, use these 8 days as a celebration and praise to him. Let's keep these laws on our minds, constantly on our minds, because we've been taught that these laws have been done away with. We've been taught that these laws don't matter, but that is a complete lie. God gave us his laws, commandments, and statutes for a certain reason, and that was to set us apart from all the other nations. So in that, brothers and sisters, I say shalom and keep your head up.